We've actually got an Aston Martin in our workshop. And when you think back in the day when it was new, this DB7 would have been over £70,000. The fact that Mike got it for 12.5 grand is absolutely incredible.
However, since the car has been in the workshop, I've noticed a bit of oil on the floor. So my first job is to find out where it's coming from, and the best place to do that is from underneath.
Now, the only sign of any oil leaking seems to be in this area, and it looks like it's coming from this pipe here, which looks like it's going to be connected to the oil cooler. You've got like a rubber hose going onto a steel pipe, and they're crimped together. And obviously over time, and it's been nearly 20 years, that rubber may have perished, it's been shaken around perhaps, but it's now leaking. Now, it's not that serious at the moment, but if you imagine that was to get much worse and actually blow off altogether, then all of your engine oil, which of course is under pressure at this point, would actually then leave the engine. You could end up seizing it or just blowing it up. So I'm going to have to change it.
Changing the oil pipes that feed the oil cooler starts with draining all the oil from the system. So out comes the sump plug. The oil catcher keeps the floor clean and makes it easy to dispose of the oil responsibly. Then the sump plug goes back in, and it's time to disconnect the oil pipes which are underneath the oil cooler. Typically, there's loads of stuff in the way. The front under tray and bracing comes away easily enough, but behind that there is a power steering radiator that has to be released too.
I can now see, finally, our oil cooler pipes. We've got these hoses that come up here onto some steel pipes, and those steel pipes then attach through a union onto the aluminium oil cooler. Now, unfortunately, therein lies a bit of a problem. You get this galvanic corrosion because of the two dissimilar metals, and ultimately what that means is you can't actually get them apart very easily. But we're going to change both hydraulic pipes. So I can actually sacrifice these to make it easier to disconnect that on the bench, and therefore, hopefully, we avoid the risk of actually damaging the oil cooler as well.
Right, time for an air saw and the usual safety garb. And I simply cut through the oil pipes, keeping my oil catcher to hand as there's bound to be some oil still in the system. Once the pipes are cut, it's still a bit of a faff to get them out, as they're rigid and rather an awkward shape. It's all a bit of a tight squeeze, but with a bit of patience, not my strong point, they finally come out.
Well, here is one of our new hydraulic pipes, and you can see they've now changed this to aluminium, so when it's attached to the oil cooler, there'll be similar metals and won't corrode. What I've got to do now is somehow thread it through this tiny, tiny space.
It's a bit like trying to thread one's way undetected through a villain's lair. But eventually the new pipes are in place without too many scraped knuckles. Then all I need to do is connect them up to the underside of the new oil cooler.
Hey Velocity fans, if you like what you saw, please subscribe to see more great videos.